Welcome back to another session of A Day with your fertility specialist. I'm your host, Joanna Damina, for today. And today we're going to be talking about emotional health and fertility. Yes, it's something that has become more and more common space. And, speaking about how the mind affects your body, that mind to body connection. And of course, a fertility specialist would be the best place to know how your emotions can affect your fertility because they see these things every day. And joining us today to talk about that is Dr. Ken Ikuda. Hi, Dr. Kenneth. Welcome. It's good to have you on here. If you're joining us for the first time, thank you very much for being here. We really do appreciate it when you click on our videos, you like, you comment, you share with your friends. Like I said, if you're joining us for the first time today, Dr. Ken is a gynecologist, consultant gynecologist, and an IVF specialist as well. So we have someone to draw lots of knowledge from. And like I said, this is becoming more and more common space. Gen Z, we're all about mental health and even rubbing off on the millennials and every other generation involved. It's just becoming something that is much more real. So yes, if you know someone that is interested in this topic or has been struggling with their emotional health in one way or another in the fertility journey, please do share this with them. If that person is you, stick around until the end. You might just learn a better way to cope or a better way to go about your fertility journey today. So let's go ahead. Let's dive into this interesting topic. So, Dr. Ken,
Yep.
yes, emotional health and fertility. They say mind over body, or your mind is your body. Whatever you feed to your mind is how your body is going to react. How true is that? How true is that in a more realistic and scientific term?
Yeah, this is a kind of metaphysical connection between the outcome of an event and the emotions that precedes or predates the events. And then it plays a lot of role or a significant role in the field of assisted reproduction technology. Yeah, because you find out that everyone coming in for an assisted reproduction technology as services has been through some emotional turmoil before. Yeah, quite a few people are just stable, and are just doing it for the fun of it.
Yeah.
But from this part of the world, it's usually the last resort that couples have. And so they've been to several places, have tried a lot of options, or have waited a whole lot, for a very long time, and are walking to your office, haven't battled a whole lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
A good number of times the emotions are negative,
True.
and some other times the emotions are anxiety, and a lot of stress and a lot of trauma may have gone through. They may have gone through all of this,
Yeah.
and this would or could have an effect on the outcome of an IVF treatment cycle, for instance.
Okay.
So a huge connection between the emotions, the process, and the outcome.
The outcome. That's
Yeah.
true. Yeah. Well, so what are some of the most common, let's say, emotional or mental challenges that your clients come in with, whether on an individual basis or a couple? They come in and they're just, pouring out their mind to you. What are some of the common things that they actually discuss with you?
Okay, to a large extent, the emotions are those of frustration. Yeah, for those who have waited for a long time or who
Yeah.
have tried severally without succeeding, they usually dose of frustration, and then for some of them, they may be battling with some extended family problems,
Sure.
because some people just get to this edge where they've been troubled by other members of their families saying that if they don't get pregnant, they're going to be knocked out of their marriages,
Yeah.
or they have a lot of options waiting for the man,
Yeah.
and all of that. So the negative emotions tend to be with the women all the time, a lot of the times, and they're coming with a lot of anxieties, with a lot of uncertainties, and frustration, and with the fear that whether or not this
This
could
is gonna
work
work. Yeah.
for them.
Yeah.
And sometimes in the office, in the consulting room when you're talking, you would find out that the emotions runs deeper than you even think. Some will go ahead to tell you that this is my last option. If this doesn't work, I'm out of this relationship.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah. Some will tell you that they hope this will work because they have gone all length to source for funds to do this. If it doesn't work, they don't know how else to source for the funds.
Yeah.
And some come with an ultimatum. Just today, I saw someone who apparently was stable with her husband, but then the battle has become the extended family battle.
Oh, that's
And
rough.
she told me that she's been told that they are looking for other options for their son.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's
So already she's coming with all kinds of
yeah.
emotions. And of course, a gentle lady saying, if this doesn't work, maybe I'm done. And then even we, the gynecologists, for instance, when you hear all of these emotions, it doesn't go easy with you, because you just know that you are the go-between continuation of people's
Exactly.
marriages
Yeah.
or relationship,
Yeah.
or termination of people's relationship, and the emotion rubs off on us too, and you just have to do what you have to do to get help to these people.
No, but then, how would you say? Would you say that there is actual, scientific or should I say strong evidence or facts? Yes, that all these negative feelings or the stress and the frustrations actually affect the outcome of what their treatment is like.
Yes, I think it does. It does. Your mind plays a whole lot of role in
Yeah.
the outcome of an event. You know, One thing I've observed from my own practice is there's those with calm emotions and those who are of faith, who believe in God.
Yeah.
And by this, I mean some certain Christians come with a positive mindset. They're going to achieve something. They're being positive about it. Their attitude is positive attitude.
Yes.
They come trusting and all of that. And they come throughout the process. More often than not, they achieve what they want. But this is not to
Okay.
say the premorbid condition. What do I mean by premorbid condition? This doesn't mean that the problems that may be existing fail to exist. For instance, you can't be so positive if the eggs are so poor, the sperms are so poor,
Yeah.
and the lining of the womb is so poor, and thinking that the positivity will just create the
Girls
results
come.
for you. No.
Yeah.
But it's just something about faith. Something about faith. Sometimes it makes the forces of nature align and bring some results.
Yeah.
That's what I want to think about
Yeah.
this. It just makes the forces of nature align to bring about the result you're looking at. So
Yeah.
yes, the result, the emotions does affect
Does
what
affect that.
outcome you
Yeah.
see. Then those who are a lot negative, you know, they don't trust, they don't believe in what you're doing, they're just going through the motion because it's necessary for them to go, suspicious all the way, non trusting. Yeah, a good number of time.
Doesn't
It
really
may
have
not
a
be helpful.
positive. Yeah.
That reminds me somewhere in the holy book, the Bible, where it's written that the a merry heart does good like medicine. So it brings some good results.
Yeah.
And some people undergoing the fertility treatment, especially for those who have been subfertile or infertile for a long time, maybe having some subtle psychiatry disorders.
Okay.
Oh yeah, mental issue, mental disorders.
Yeah.
And is a spectrum from mild anxiety disorder to extreme anxiety disorder. Some would have had a lot of trauma, fight with their partners,
Mm-hmm.
fight with the extended relations. And so there's a lot of buildup of negative emotion and frustration.
Yes.
And they can't help but just to express it.
That's true. Yeah, I can only imagine. But we're talking a lot about negatives. I know most of the time when people talk about mental health or emotional health, those kind of things are associated with a more negative overlook about it. But like you just said, most of the time or more often than not, when you have clients come in with a more positive outlook or more positive mindset, be it of their own will or their faith, things tend to just align a little bit better. So, how would you help or how would you assist a couple or an individual that is going through a more negative path in their emotional health and their well-being? What kind of things would you suggest to them just to reduce that emotional strain?
Oh well, in a standard fertility clinic, you have room where you have the counselors,
Mm-hmm.
and the psychologists. For someone in this spectrum
Yeah.
of description you just made, it would be good to have a session. I mean, some sessions with the counselors
Mm.
and the psychologists, the clinical psychologists, to really talk them through the emotions they're
They're feeling,
exhibiting,
yeah.
and then make them overcome the negative emotion, or to bring some solutions
Mm.
to the negative emotions before making them go through this. Because if they are not mentally stable, emotionally stable, the outcome may also be very, very catastrophic.
Yeah.
So yeah, we doctors talk to them because yeah, we are trained counselors to an
Mm-hmm.
extent, but of course there are professional counselors. The psychologist could help. Then for those who easily find comfort, succor in faith, for instance,
Yeah.
um, they could go the religious journey, because I'm a Christian, for instance,
Mm-hmm.
and I know that there are a lot of passages in the Bible that encourages you. It gives you hope and faith,
Yeah.
even if times are tough or circumstances are tough, and then lead them that way, you know, and that may bring them out of these negative emotions
Mm.
and can give them some hope and faith, because you do need hope and faith to go through yeah, fertility journey
Journeys.
sometimes, yeah, when
Yeah.
you're dealing with extreme circumstances in
Mm-hmm.
fertility care.
It's a very
So these
tough
are just
history.
ways to help them.
Yeah.
And of course, sometimes maybe exercises. Exercises help people get through some negative emotions.
Mm.
An exercise regime, you know. And there are fertility centers that have gyms
Oh, okay.
associated with
Fancy.
them, and then you could go sweat it out, burn down
Mm.
some calories,
Yeah.
because exercise frees the mind sometimes and clears the mind.
Mm-hmm.
It could be very helpful, you know. So those are some of the things that I think. Then of course, good family support
Yeah.
from wherever the family is, maybe her extended families or her friends,
Mm-hmm.
or even the partner, the husband,
Yeah.
giving some good support if they are in good terms with him.
Mm.
That will help. So these are some things that could really help people pull through negative emotions that are associated with assisted reproduction technology.
So would you say it's more based off of what works for a person? I mean, like what makes them feel better in certain situations. For instance, I love listening to music. I mean, if I'm having a bad day, there's an album that I just go, I play that, and from the very first tunes and the beats and everything just coming into play, I feel a lot better already. And some people might be reading books, just getting lost in a whole different dimension. Most of the time, fiction, of course. For some people, it might be walks and exercise or dancing or things like that. I mean, they seem very little, but do you think it's something that they could actually incorporate into their should I say day to day or into their routine when they're going on a fertility journey as such?
Yeah, fertility journey is quite complicated. And,
Hmm.
we can't actually X-ray or talk about all the things that people can go through. Yeah, there are people who find comfort in reading books.
Yeah.
You could encourage them to get some books and read. Music does a lot, and in fact, music, to say it's a universal language, it suits a lot of situations for people. It gives courage, it gives excitement, it gives hope, and gives faith. So yeah, these are all things that people can do depending on their level of exposure in life, civilization, education, and
True.
all of
True.
that.
Yeah.
So everyone would do well with some form of support, some form of encouragement, and more importantly, the perspective of the doctor's communication. Sometimes as doctors, we see things that are very bleak,
Yeah.
hopeless, you know, and we know it because I, for instance, me, Ken, I've understood the human body as if I co created it. Yeah, that's how it is because that's my training.
Yeah.
And so the fact that I have a good understanding of the human reproductive system or human body doesn't mean I should be cocky and so negative about obvious things because it further dampens the morale or
Of
the
the
faith of the
person.
person.
Yeah.
So we should mix hope with scientific communication. Yeah, because in some medical society, you're trained to talk about statistics, about do's and don'ts, about
Yeah. Just the
figures,
facts. Yeah.
and everybody falls into that statistics, and then we don't care what we're dealing with. But I think we can mix hope to the statistics, no matter how bad the statistics are or how bad the situations are,
Yeah.
because we've seen people also survive and succeed through very tough and difficult medical situations. So we don't talk hopelessly. Yeah, we talk with faith, we talk with courage and encouragement.
Yeah.
Yeah, we talk with support, and hope that even if your chance is 1%, you could be that 1% to
Percent
succeed.
sold. Yeah.
So that way, you don't make an overtly terrible situation unbearable. You
For the
can
person.
speak with some ray of hope and light so that the individual will get. Because if the doctor doesn't support the patient,
I
who else
mean,
will support the
yeah,
patient?
it basically come to you. Some people, like you said, they've gone through so much already. This is like
Exactly.
their last stop, their final
Exactly.
first stop, and
So if the
then
doctor
you're
doesn't
telling
support,
them,
who
"Oh, this
will?
is not going to
Oh,
work."
sure.
That's just completely
Yeah.
demoralizing.
In as much as we try to be factual, you know, you're factual in a hopeful way
Yeah.
with some encouragement and some faith so that these guys would hold on to something. Because imagine somebody coming to you with 6 failed IVF treatment cycle.
Oh,
How do you want to do? What do you want to tell the person?
yeah.
You just have to hope against hope that this may just work. And miracles still do
Do
happen.
happen.
They do
Yeah.
happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. And no, from my point of my point of medical practice is that uh, we've had situations that we've told some guys that this is just not it. And if you have this according to medical sciences, it says this wouldn't happen.
Yeah.
And then it happened right in our very eyes. And so I guess this is the universe trying to teach us that you don't have it all
Yeah.
under your control,
Yeah.
that some things can just go differently.
There's always a chance.
Yes. And some people just hope in what they hope and faith in what they faith. And then the result turns positive for them.
Yeah.
So yeah, so we the medical practitioners or the reproductive biologists or gynecologists, if you call us that, should speak gracefully so we're not worsening situations. Because you see, an infertile woman coming before you may have fought all her days with even her partner before sitting before
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
And then they just cleaned up, brightened up, and freshened up just for the purpose of sitting before you. So her life or his life has been a life of battle.
Yeah.
And how would your consulting room be another
Battle.
battlefield?
Yeah.
You're just going to make life unbearable for her or for him. So make it as peaceful, hopeful, and encouraging as possible. Because they may just leave your office and continue fighting.
Yeah. That might just be that one thing that'll push them to keep going.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
they just need this hope, even when things or situation looks hopeless. But of course, this doesn't mean that people shouldn't make wise decisions
No,
too.
of course.
And that is where we counsel. For instance, seeing a perimenopausal woman who has no eggs,
Hmm.
and then she wants to make a choice of the kind of fertility treatment to do, and she wants to make a treatment with her eggs.
Oh, yeah.
Already she's staring at failure, and we're all staring at failures.
Hmm.
In that case, I don't think I know how to be hopeful.
Some things are just too
Exactly.
much. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I do really understand that point of view. It's a precarious thing to deliver both bad news in a good way. I don't know
Uh-huh.
if that's a good way to say it. But that's as your role as a doctor or as a gynecologist when you're talking to your patients. And I want to focus a little bit more on them again. Especially in this era of social media, right? It
Mhm.
can be very troubling and very trialing to come on social media and you're seeing everybody's baby showers, their pregnancy announcements, their jubilation, and all their joy. And I know there was a couple that I know of. I didn't really follow the story, but apparently they had people, asking and questioning about the woman, giving birth. Why isn't she pregnant yet? And things like that. This is a very common thing in our society. It's a social thing. So how would you encourage your clients to protect themselves from such things? I know it can be difficult to completely go off of social media or completely tune out what your in-laws are saying or what your family is saying, but is there anything that you encourage them and you think would just be helpful or they find helpful actually?
One good thing about social media is that a lot of good stuff on social media.
Yeah.
And even if you go to the reproductive corners, for instance, you have a lot of gynecologists on the social media saying very correct stuff,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and it's good for them to listen,
Yeah.
and pick the positive from where they need to pick positive.
True.
And of course, if they get confused, discuss with your gynecologist directly because your own case may just be peculiar to
To
you.
you, yeah.
You understand? And so you don't generalize on what's happening on so someone on social media because uh, information in social media could be also painted or colored
Mm-hmm.
and may not be reflective of the real
Yeah, they want you to
situations.
see what they want you to
You
see.
understand?
Yeah.
So they just present to you what you need to hear or what you need to know
Mm.
based on need to know basis. So it's good to tailor every information to your own self, and then if you are in doubt or in confusion,
Yeah.
have time to talk with your doctors because your doctor has your facts,
True.
your investigation and
The
evaluations are all
history,
sitting on
everything.
his table
Mm-hmm.
or in his desktop,
Mm-hmm.
and he should be able to guide you appropriately, mixing the facts and the obvious to you, so you can make sense out of it. So you should listen to social media because you can get courage,
Mm-hmm.
and of course, you take some of this stuff with some tinge of salt and have good time to discuss with your expert.
Yeah, so it's basically a mind game. You have to fine tune the information that you wholeheartedly receive. There's positives and there's negatives, just the way you would feel emotionally in a good space or you feel like you're not in such a good space. There's always one or the other. So yeah, we have a comment on here. Thank you very much. It's coming live from Facebook. Ola Oluwatoyin. She says you're a blessing to this generation. Thank you for giving all and thank you for not holding back. God bless you, sir.
Oh
I actually
yeah,
do appreciate that. Thank you very much. And that is true,
that's great.
if
Thank you
you've
so much.
if you've joined our live sessions often enough, you know that Dr. Ken doesn't hold back. He can be quite radical with his thoughts and he just puts it out there because like you said, giving the facts and everything in a hopeful or a graceful way for you all to know. So yes, this is a lot of discussion about couples and individuals and women. Speaking of women, I know we're told, oh, we're very emotional, we're very woody, and all of those things, especially around your menstrual period. Yes. So, how do you think in general that actually affects fertility, like our hormones, and especially in IVF where there's hormonal treatments involved? Does that actually put your client in a different mood space?
I don't know what's going through my mind. There are some of these medications we use for assisted reproduction technology, like the gonadotropin releasing hormone analogs, the agonists, and all of that.
Mm,
You know, they cause mood swings.
Yeah.
And sometimes they give you hot flushes,
Hmm.
and headaches.
Hmm.
And sometimes it makes you feel like you are menopausal already while undergoing through
Oh,
the IVF treatment cycle.
wow.
And you occasionally see women just crying for
Hmm.
nothing, crying for nothing. So, but we understand all of that this
Mm-hmm.
is part of the turmoil of the medications. We just support them as much as
Yeah.
possible, knowing that this is a side effect. So
Yeah.
they have enough counseling before going on those medications. And if it goes that way, some of them find some gods to understand and tolerate what they're going through.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, the emotions actually is a roller coaster of emotion.
Yeah.
You're going for egg collections, oocyte retrieval. You're wondering, are we going to retrieve oocytes? You know, and you're going for embryo transfer.
Mm-hmm.
Am I going to have enough embryos to have good transfers?
Yeah.
And all of that. Then the pregnancy test period, full
That's
of
another
emotions. That even
thing.
the doctors feel like running away sometimes. So yeah, it's just a roller coaster of
Yeah.
emotions, but uh, they need emotional cushioning.
Mm-hmm.
For instance, 2014 in Munich, for instance, we had series of meetings about emotions and assisted reproduction technology,
Okay.
and then we have series of some research works. And some of the research works actually clearly stated that women who listen to good music
Hmm.
after embryo transfer had more pregnancies
Wow.
than those on the other cohort. The
Wow.
other cohort who just live regular
Yeah.
life and not
Just.
nothing like that.
Hmm.
And this agrees with what you said earlier on, that when you feel funny, you take to music.
Yeah.
When you feel discouraged, you take to music, because music has it all in it.
Mm-hmm.
Charges you, it encourages you, toughens you up, makes you want to go to fight sometimes.
Yeah.
But this good music, we saw that it increased the rate of positive
Wow.
outcome.
I mean.
But then, this is not to say that, in case there are research experts listening to me, this is
Mm-hmm.
not to say that music brings the solution.
Yeah.
No, it's just
Yeah.
the mood we're controlling,
Mm.
because mood even affects affects the quality of egg, and that is why good sleep
It's
is
important.
encouraged
Yeah.
during assisted reproduction technology. And that's the place where melatonin comes in for those that have problems with sleeping, because
Sleeping. Yeah.
anxiety sometimes take away sleep.
Mm-hmm.
So when you have women on melatonin, for instance, they have good sleep and good mood.
Yeah.
Egg production becomes fine for those who have eggs. If you don't have eggs, you could sleep all you want.
It's not magic.
No magic happens, man.
Yeah.
No magic happens. So, but then sleep takes away the stress, makes your body heal itself,
Mm-hmm.
reduce oxidative radicals, and make quality of eggs and outcome of assisted reproduction technology better,
Yeah.
just the way good music does. And that's, of course, agreeing with the fact that a merry heart does good like medicine.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, part of the studies then in Munich 2014 was that those that ate the regular food, the African-based food,
Hmm.
had better pregnancy rates
Oh wow.
than the westernized kind of food. Of course,
Hmm.
processed food everywhere in the West. You
Exactly.
understand? So the natural food, for instance, does better with reproduction
Hmm.
than the processed kind of food. So these are all the outcomes of those meetings. So mood, happiness is very important. And that is what I have personally observed,
Hmm.
that women with the kind mood, easy-go-lucky kind of attitude,
Yeah.
you get better results than those who are just on the other spectrum of
Yeah.
life, because these negative emotions increase stress in you, and
Generally,
stress wrecks not just reproduction, it wrecks
the
even
whole
the
system.
immunity of
Hmm.
your immunity.
Hmm.
You understand? So this is how it affects it.
Wow. I
So it's
mean,
always good to have this mood,
mhm.
yeah,
Bit elevated,
elevated.
and then of course it's not like you can be in a good mood all the time, but just those little
I
things
used to
that
tell
you
my
can
clients
use.
sometimes,
Yeah.
yeah, this is me practically now telling my clients, quote unquote, I don't preach forgiveness,
Why?
because when you retaliate, you feel better.
Yeah.
That's the truth.
Yeah.
That's why you see in the West, for instance, when justice is served,
Everybody
everybody feels good.
good.
You say, yes, I'm happy now.
Mm.
Justice is served.
Mm.
You get healing, you know.
Yeah.
But when you forgive,
Oh, and
you know,
even worse in Nigeria, they say forgive and forget.
exactly.
Come on.
How does that work? You understand? So I'm not saying people shouldn't forgive people.
Yeah.
That's not what I'm saying. So I used to tell my couples in a very playful way. And couples annoy themselves a lot.
Mhm.
And that can actually be a major cause of stress.
Yeah.
You see your husband, see this stupid man. If not for you, I won't be doing all of these things.
Mm.
So you see, this is like a vicious cycle now. You're not happy with your partner. You live in the same house with your partner. That becomes a big source of stress for you.
Yeah, of course.
And that alone can make your treatment fail.
Mm.
So I tell them, in as much as it's not easy to forgive, so maybe don't retaliate now. I'll tell you when to retaliate. Let's get over this business first.
Yeah,
Get you pregnant.
fix this a little bit.
Get you pregnant,
Mhm.
and confirm clinical pregnancy that
Yeah.
everything is fine. And of course, I'll ask you,
Then
bring
retaliate.
your notebook. I give you the
Um,
date to go
Point
retaliate.
everything out.
So everything will be fine.
Yeah.
So this is just a way of saying that the troubles that exist between couples,
Mhm.
the lack of harmony, lack of harmony, and the fights,
Yeah.
the quarrels,
Mm.
makes these things negative.
Mm.
Even if everything is fine,
Fine.
makes it
Wow.
negative. And I see a lot of them.
Yeah.
They
Of
come into
course.
the clinics, they are they are 2 meters apart.
Oh.
One is in the front and the other is in the back.
Yeah.
Already you can see this harmony.
Yeah. Sometimes you even know they
This
came together.
pregnancy, there's a lot that goes into pregnancy.
Mm.
In the metaphysical realm, these babies want to come when there is harmony.
Yeah.
Everything is fine, but no pregnancy happens. In as much as a good number of the failure are genetic incline,
Mhm.
but harmony brings a whole lot of success.
Oh.
So I guess when they're going, they should forgive themselves, forget about the trouble, have some peace within themselves
For
and
that
harmony,
period.
and go try.
Yeah.
If they try, it doesn't work, they can go back
We
to
can go
fighting
back.
again.
Okay, well, that's really interesting. But just before we go, I just wanted to speak more on the male side. I know we've spoken a lot about women. I know,
Males.
especially in our society, just generally in every society, men have been a lot more restrictive with their emotions and suppressing things. And they say, oh, you never know what a man's going to. I see a lot of memes on social media. A man will just come back from work, you cry in his car, come back and laugh with his family. Just basically you having to be the bigger person, the tough,
Oh
macho,
yeah.
strong person.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so have
With
you
a lot
seen
of
that
muscle,
actually?
right?
Yeah. Actually, so just it would cause some negative emotions as well and some stress as well. So just like the way it would affect a woman, I'm pretty sure that it does for the men as well. But how do you see that play out in your day-to-day interactions with your clients?
For me, it's the same.
Hmm.
Yeah, because if you've been to my clinic before and knowing what we know in my own hospital, in ALPS hospitals, for
Yeah.
instance, we know so much about the male reproduction. Just the same way we criticize the eggs when they are poor, we criticize the sperms when they are poor. Because we know it takes a good egg and a good sperm to make for pregnancy. So when the sperms are bad, we face the man. When the sperms are bad, we face the man. The sperms are bad, they may not give us what we're looking for. The genetic material looks compromised. DNA fragmentation is high. We're having challenges with your sperms. Already that's beginning to create some negative emotions in him. But of course, we need to, because scientifically, we need to give you explanation for everything that is going on. Yeah, so we watch the men. Some of them get so concerned, get so worked up, and they have these emotions too. And there are men who have to take sperm donation, and the whole world is turned upside down for them. I remember a man calling odd hours of the day, and he said, "Ken, you mean I have to use sperm donation?
It's so surreal.
I have to." I say, yes, that's the only options we think that may work for you, because even if we do a testicular sperm extraction, for instance, we may not get eggs because there are no indications that you still produce sperms. And then he called again. So you mean, Ken, I watch a child walk past me in my house, and then I will remember that it's not my sperm that brings about this life. How does that make you feel? That's the same way women feel
Yeah.
when they use egg
They
donation.
do.
Even though with egg donation, if they are the ones who bear the pregnancy, there's a genetic transfer of materials from them to the baby. Yeah? It's a little better than sperm donation. You understand? So men go through those emotions too.
Yeah.
But of course, as you know, they just act strong, but some are really broken. And we give every support that we can give,
Okay.
just the way we give the women. That's some women who failed IVF treatment cycle continuously because the sperms are bad.
Hmm.
Yes,
Wow.
because the sperms are
It's
bad.
really tough.
So men go through their emotions too, a lot of them. Yeah. And some of them do what they just have to do to move forward.
Yeah.
But just that they are more logical than the women. They don't hang on one spot
Yeah.
for a very long time. They just face the problems themselves,
And try to
decide what
find
they
something
want,
else.
and move on from there.
Yeah. Oh, that's interesting. Well, thank you for that. Like, I just wanted to have a more well-rounded, in case there are any men out there, and they're like, this guy is just talking about women, women, women.
No, men's
Yes.
problem is more than women in
Exactly. We still
today's
have you
world.
two out here. Yeah.
Men's problems are more than women.
I can
You
imagine.
understand? So the problem with sperms is complicated.
Yeah.
Very complicated problems with sperms, and we're even worried for the future of mankind. I
Oh,
mean,
wow.
male mankind.
Oh, wow.
Because it's postulated that we may get extinct because the problem with our Y chromosomes is not abating. It's damaging, it's chipping off and doing all kinds of things. More abortions happen because it is sperm. More fetal abnormalities happen because of abnormal sperms. Then what makes boys born,
Yeah.
it's already been eroded from Y chromosomes.
Yeah.
So with time, we get to a point where males are not going to be as common as we have it right now. And that's why we preach
It's
male
scary.
preserving the sperms.
Yeah, it's scary features because we have a question coming in from Olawumi again. Thank you so much. You're very interactive today. She asked, please, what is the normal egg reserve in women, and at what number should it become a concern?
This is interesting,
Yeah.
there's no direct answer to this. But then when a woman is born at birth, she has about 400 to 700,000 eggs. Then when she gets to menstruation and to age of menarche, she starts losing these eggs
Yeah.
monthly.
Every month.
When we were in the medical school, they say you lose 15 per month. But as at 2016, 15, the knowledge is 1,000 per month. The knowledge increased. So the reserve is different for different women. The places you get exposed to, the chemicals you consume, the medications, the illnesses that affect your pelvis or your health generally affect your reserve. And so while some women's reserve can take up to 40 years, for some 30 years they are out of reserve. I've seen women with 20, 22 years, 25 years, and they have no eggs anymore.
Wow.
And some medication and treatments of some diseases affect some people's reserve. So at any point, if you want to know the reserve, it's good to check up with the doctor who will run some investigations, maybe ultrasound scan, anti-malarial hormones, inhibin B and A, and to check what the reserves are, okay? Otherwise, for the regular woman at 35, the reserve begins to go down drastically. Yeah. Then at 37, for instance, you have only 30 of all the eggs left, only 30% may just be good. At age of 40, chances of getting pregnant with your egg just about 10 to 15%.
Wow.
Then
That's
at age of
quite low.
46, just 1%.
It's rapid.
So these are the things that happen. So women don't have this egg forever. So you can't say one particular age for everyone.
Yeah.
But for regular women without undue exposure to toxins and radiation and hostile chemicals, 35 is usually the watershed age, after which the egg goes down drastically.
Oh.
And when we preach that women should keep, when we encourage that women freeze their eggs, we want them to do that before 35. But of course, if you have to do it at 35 and above, it's still okay. But the best time is before 35. Yeah.
Mm, That's interesting. Thank you. That was a very interesting question. And we really do appreciate you sticking around with us. I know that took us a little bit away from the emotional aspect, but just to round it all up, your emotions play quite a key role in the outcome of just your general health and well-being, and especially your fertility. So as much as you can, with the tips that we've gotten from Dr. Ken today, try to turn those negatives into positives. You never know what good it might do for you. I know that it is difficult, so always do well to speak to somebody about it. Speak to your counselor, speak to your gynecologist, and they'll guide you in a more informative step, because I know how lost you can be, or how confusing it can be to walk through these steps. So thank you so much, Dr. Ken, for joining us. Always a pleasure to have you here. And thank you for sticking around today. We are live every Wednesdays and Fridays by 3 p.m. on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, and TikTok. So if you do want to join us, please follow us on those social media platforms. Turn on your post notifications so that in case you forget, your phone will remind you for us. We have a lot more interesting topics coming up for you this year, this month, and we really hope that you leave with more knowledge than you came with. Have a lovely day. Bye.